What if I told you that every single relationship failure in your life wasn't your fault, but the result of invisible psychological forces you never knew existed? What if the most famous psychologist in history discovered a secret about attraction that explains why you keep choosing the wrong people, why chemistry fades, and why some couples seem to have that magical connection while others crash and burn? Today, I'm going to reveal Carl Jung's most controversial and life-changing theories about relationships that will completely revolutionize how you think about love, attraction, and compatibility. And I'm warning you right now, what you're about to learn is so powerful that it might make you question every relationship decision you've ever made. But before we dive deep, let me blow your mind with this one fact. Jung discovered that every man has a hidden feminine side called the anima, and every woman has a hidden masculine side called the animus. These invisible forces don't just influence who you're attracted to, they literally control your entire love life. And here's the kicker: 99% of people are completely unconscious of these forces, which is why they keep making the same devastating relationship mistakes over and over again. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why your last relationship failed, why you keep attracting the same type of person, and most importantly, how to use Jung's insights to finally find the love you've been searching for. The hidden force controlling your love life. Let's start with something that's going to make your past relationships suddenly make perfect sense. Have you ever met someone who was absolutely perfect for you on paper? Same interests, same values, same goals, but something just felt completely off? Or maybe you've experienced that intense, almost supernatural attraction to someone who was obviously wrong for you in every logical way. Jung would tell you this is your anima or animus at work, and once you understand this concept, your entire dating life will never be the same. Here's what's happening inside your mind. Your anima or animus is like a psychological GPS that's constantly scanning for potential partners. But here's the shocking part: it's not looking for someone who's actually good for you. It's looking for someone who represents the undeveloped parts of your own personality. Think about it like this. If you're a man, your anima is this invisible feminine energy inside you that was shaped by your mother, your early experiences with women, cultural influences, and what Jung called the collective unconscious, basically ancient patterns that all humans share. When you meet a woman who matches this unconscious template, boom, instant attraction. Love at first sight. That feeling like you've known this person forever. But here's the plot twist that changes everything. Your anima isn't trying to find you a compatible partner. It's trying to complete you psychologically. It's attracted to women who embody the feminine qualities you haven't developed in yourself. This is why so many guys fall for women who seem perfect emotionally but are disasters practically. And for women, it's even more complex. Your animus tends to be attracted to men who represent power, achievement, creativity, or rebellion. Basically, collective masculine ideals rather than individual qualities. This is why so many women find themselves drawn to the bad boy, the successful entrepreneur, the tortured artist, or the rebel who breaks all the rules. The problem is, you're not actually attracted to these people as individuals. You're attracted to what they represent archetypally. And this creates a psychological trap that destroys relationships. The 4 stages that predict your relationship success. Now here's where it gets really interesting, and this part is going to predict your relationship patterns with scary accuracy. Jung discovered that both the anima and animus develop through 4 distinct stages, and most people get completely stuck in the early stages, which is why their relationships keep failing. Let me break down the 4 stages of anima development for men, and I guarantee you'll recognize exactly where you are. Stage 1, Eve. This is pure biological attraction. If you're constantly swiping right based on looks alone, if your first thought about any woman is whether you'd sleep with her, if you judge women primarily on their physical appearance and sexual availability, you're operating from stage 1. There's nothing wrong with physical attraction, but if that's all you've got, your relationships will be shallow and short-lived. Stage 2, Helen. This is the romantic fantasy stage. You're looking for your dream girl, your muse, your inspiration. You start projecting romantic ideals onto women and falling in love with your own projections rather than the actual person. Stage 2 relationships are passionate and intense, but they crash and burn the moment reality sets in. If your relationships always start like a fairy tale but end in disappointment when you discover your partner is a real human being with flaws, you're stuck in stage 2. Stage 3, marry. This is the mother figure stage. You're attracted to women who provide emotional security, wisdom, and nurturing. You want someone who takes care of you, guides you, and makes you feel safe. These relationships are more stable but can become stagnant because you're not actually growing as a person. If you keep ending up with women who mother you, or if your partners always complain that they feel more like your mom than your girlfriend, you're operating from stage 3. Stage 4, Sophia. This is the wise woman stage, and this is where real love becomes possible. You're attracted to wisdom, depth, authenticity, and genuine connection. You can see women as complete, complex individuals rather than projections of your psychological needs. You want an equal partner, not someone to complete you or take care of you. Here's the shocking truth. Most men never make it past stage 2. They spend their entire lives chasing romantic projections and wondering why their relationships lack depth and staying power. For women, the animus stages are equally revealing. Stage 1, Tarzan, pure physical power and protection. You're attracted to hyper-masculine men who can dominate and provide. Stage 2, the romantic hero, the adventurer, the artist, the passionate rebel. You want excitement, drama, and intensity. Stage 3, the professor, the man of ideas, status, and social achievement. You're attracted to intelligence, success, and prestige. Stage 4, the wise king, the man who embodies authentic wisdom, spiritual insight, and genuine authority. Most women get stuck cycling between stages 1 and 2, which is why they keep choosing men who are either physically dominant but emotionally unavailable, or romantically exciting but ultimately unreliable. The projection trap. Why chemistry dies. Now here's where Jung's insights become absolutely revolutionary for modern dating. He discovered that most relationship problems aren't actually about compatibility or communication, they're about projection. You're not fighting with your partner, you're fighting with your own psychological projections. Let me give you a real example that will probably hit close to home. Say you're a guy who's always attracted to independent, successful women. You meet someone perfect, she's got her own career, her own opinions, her own life. The chemistry is incredible. But 6 months later, you start feeling threatened by her success. You become possessive, critical of her ambitions, demanding more of her time and attention. What's happening here? Your anima was initially attracted to her independence because it represented your own undeveloped potential for self-sufficiency. But instead of developing your own independence, you became psychologically dependent on her to carry that energy for you. When she acts independently, it feels like rejection because you're no longer seeing her as a separate person, you're seeing her as an extension of yourself. This is the projection trap, and it destroys more relationships than infidelity, money problems, and incompatibility combined. You fall in love with your own projections, and then you punish your partner for not living up to your unconscious expectations. Here's another common example. The responsible, mature person who's always attracted to free spirits and spontaneous types. At first, it feels perfect, they balance each other out. But over time, the responsible person starts calling their partner irresponsible, while the free spirit feels controlled and criticized. What's really happening is that each person is making their partner carry the disowned parts of their personality, and then resenting them for it. The shadow, your relationship's hidden enemy. But Jung's insights go even deeper, and this next part is going to explain why you keep attracting the same type of person who drives you crazy. It's called the shadow, and it's the parts of yourself you refuse to acknowledge or accept. Your shadow contains all the qualities you've decided are unacceptable about yourself. If you pride yourself on being nice and agreeable, Your shadow contains your aggression and selfishness. If you see yourself as rational and logical, your shadow contains your emotional and irrational side. If you think you're independent and self-sufficient, your shadow contains your neediness and dependency. Here's the relationship killer. You will inevitably be attracted to people who carry your shadow projections. The people who trigger you the most are often reflecting back your own disowned qualities. This is why the giver always chooses takers, why the responsible person always falls for the irresponsible rebel, why the emotional person is drawn to cold, rational types. At first, it feels complementary and exciting. Your partner seems to complete you, to balance out your one-sided personality. But over time, you start resenting them for the very qualities that initially attracted you. The giver starts calling their partner selfish. The responsible person starts calling their partner immature. The emotional person starts calling their partner heartless. What's really happening is that you're seeing your own disowned shadow reflected back at you, and it's making you uncomfortable. Instead of recognizing and integrating these qualities in yourself, you're making your partner carry them and then punishing them for it. The modern dating disaster. Why apps make everything worse. Jung's insights are more relevant now than ever because modern dating culture is basically designed to reinforce projection and shadow dynamics. Dating apps reduce people to curated images and brief descriptions, encouraging us to project our fantasies onto strangers before we even meet them. Social media creates these perfect personas that invite projection rather than authentic connection. We swipe right on our anima or animus image, have intense early chemistry based on projection, and then crash and burn when reality inevitably sets in. The speed of modern dating means we often commit to relationships before we've had time to see past our initial projections. Plus, the abundance of choices creates this constant sense that someone better might be just one swipe away, which prevents us from doing the deep work necessary to move beyond projection. But here's the opportunity. If you understand Jung's insights about projection and individuation, you have a massive advantage in modern dating. While everyone else is chasing projections and getting trapped by their shadows, you can be looking for genuine compatibility and authentic connection. The secret to lasting love, individuation. This brings us to Jung's most revolutionary insight about relationships, and this is the part that's going to completely change how you approach dating and love. Jung believed that the purpose of intimate relationships isn't just companionship or even happiness, it's individuation. Relationships are meant to make you conscious of your unconscious patterns and help you become a more complete, integrated person. Individuation is the process of becoming whole, integrating your anima or animus, owning your shadow, and developing your authentic self. And here's the key. Healthy relationships require both partners to be on this journey. Instead of expecting your partner to fulfill your psychological needs, you take responsibility for developing the qualities you've been projecting onto them. If you're always attracted to confident people, you work on developing your own confidence. If you're drawn to creative types, you explore your own creativity. If you're attracted to nurturing people, you learn to nurture yourself. This might sound like it would make relationships less necessary, but Jung discovered the opposite. When you stop using your partner to complete you psychologically, you can finally see them as they truly are. You can appreciate their unique qualities without needing them to be something they're not. You can love them for who they are, not for how they make you feel about yourself. The sacred marriage, what real love looks like. Jung had a term for what happens when two individuated people come together in relationship. The Konyangsho, or sacred marriage. This isn't just about two people getting along well, it's about two complete individuals creating something greater than the sum of their parts. In this kind of relationship, both partners have done their own psychological work. They've integrated their anima or animus, they've owned their shadow, and they've developed their authentic selves. When they come together, they're not trying to complete each other, they're trying to create something new. Modern couples who achieve this kind of relationship report something that sounds almost too good to be true. They maintain their individual identities while also experiencing deep unity. They can be separate and together simultaneously. They can disagree without disconnecting. They can support each other's growth without losing themselves. The love is based on genuine appreciation rather than need. The attraction is based on who the person actually is rather than what they represent psychologically. The relationship becomes a vehicle for mutual growth rather than just comfort and security. Red flags: how to know you're still projecting. So how do you know if you're caught in projection rather than genuine love? Jung identified several warning signs that are incredibly relevant for modern relationships. First, if you find yourself constantly trying to change your partner, you're probably relating to a projection rather than the actual person. When you love someone for who they are, you don't need them to be different. Second, if your attraction is based primarily on how your partner makes you feel about yourself rather than who they are as an individual, that's projection. Genuine love appreciates the other person's unique qualities, not just their effect on you. Third, if you find yourself having the same arguments over and over again without resolution, you're probably fighting about projections rather than real issues. When you withdraw your projections, many relationship conflicts simply dissolve. Fourth, if you feel like you can't be yourself around your partner, or if you're constantly walking on eggshells, you're probably relating to each other's complexes rather than authentic selves. Fifth, if you feel like your partner completes you or you can't imagine living without them, that's codependence, not love. Healthy love enhances your wholeness rather than filling your emptiness. Your action plan: how to apply Jung's insights today. So how do you actually use these insights to transform your love life? Here's your step-by-step action plan. Step 1. Do your own psychological work before trying to find a partner. Start becoming conscious of your anima or animus patterns. What qualities are you constantly seeking in partners? What stage of development are you in? How can you start developing those projected qualities in yourself? Step 2. Learn to recognize your shadow projections. Make a list of the qualities in past partners that you found most attractive initially but most annoying later. Those are probably shadow projections you need to own and integrate. Step 3. Practice seeing people as separate individuals rather than projections of your psychological needs. When you meet someone new, resist the urge to immediately categorize them or project your fantasies onto them. Get curious about their inner world, their dreams, their authentic self that exists independently of your needs. Step 4. Work on becoming whole and complete as an individual. This doesn't mean you don't need relationships. It means you choose relationships from a place of wholeness rather than emptiness. Develop your own confidence, creativity, independence, nurturing abilities, or whatever qualities you typically seek in partners. Step 5. Look for partners who are also on their own individuation journey. You want someone who's interested in psychological growth, who takes responsibility for their own projections, and who can see you as a separate person rather than just a fulfillment of their needs. The transformation: what changes when you apply this? When you start applying Jung's insights to your relationships, the changes can be dramatic and immediate. Instead of constantly feeling disappointed by your partners, you start appreciating their unique qualities. Instead of having the same fights over and over, you start addressing real issues that can actually be resolved. Your attraction patterns change too. Instead of being drawn to people who trigger your complexes, you start being attracted to people who inspire your growth. Instead of choosing partners who complete you, you choose partners who complement your wholeness. The quality of your relationships improves dramatically. You experience less drama, more authenticity, deeper intimacy, and greater satisfaction. You stop cycling through the same relationship patterns and start creating genuinely new experiences with each person you meet. But perhaps most importantly, you start using relationships for their highest purpose, becoming more conscious, more integrated, and more authentically yourself. The ripple effect: How your conscious relationships change the world. Jung believed that individual psychological work had collective implications. When two people create a conscious relationship based on genuine love rather than projection, they contribute to the healing of what he called the collective unconscious. Think about it. Most of the world's conflicts stem from projection. We see our shadow in other groups, other cultures, other belief systems. If we can learn to withdraw our projections in intimate relationships, we can learn to withdraw them in all our relationships. Conscious couples become models for what's possible between humans. They demonstrate that differences can be sources of fascination rather than conflict, that individuals can maintain their authenticity while also creating unity, and that love can be based on genuine appreciation rather than need and projection. Your next steps, beginning your Jungian love journey. So where do you go from here? How do you start applying these life-changing insights to your own relationships? First, commit to your own individuation process. Whether through therapy, meditation, journaling, or other forms of inner work, start becoming conscious of your unconscious patterns. Pay attention to your anima or animus, your shadow, and your authentic self. Second, start practicing conscious relating in all your relationships. With friends, family members, and potential partners, practice seeing them as separate individuals rather than projections of your needs. Third, be patient with the process. Withdrawing projections and developing authentic relationships takes time. Don't expect to transform your relationship patterns overnight, but do expect to see gradual, profound changes. Fourth, seek out resources and communities that support conscious relating. Read Jung's works, find therapists who understand depth psychology, and connect with others who are on similar journeys. Remember, this work isn't just about finding better relationships, it's about becoming a more complete, conscious, and authentic human being. The relationships are just a beautiful side effect of your own psychological development. The revolution starts with you. Carl Jung's insights about relationships were revolutionary when he first discovered them over a century ago, and they remain revolutionary today. In a world of superficial connections and projection-based relationships, the possibility of genuine intimacy and conscious love is more precious than ever. The path isn't easy, but it's worth it. When you commit to seeing your relationships as opportunities for growth rather than just sources of comfort, when you take responsibility for your own projections rather than blaming your partners, and when you choose love based on appreciation rather than need, you open up possibilities for connection that most people never experience. Your relationships can become sacred spaces where two complete individuals meet in authenticity and create something beautiful together. They can become laboratories for consciousness, temples of growth, and expressions of the deepest love possible between human beings. The question is, are you ready to move beyond projection and into genuine love? Are you willing to do the inner work necessary to become whole before seeking someone else to complete you? Are you prepared to see your next relationship as an opportunity for individuation rather than just companionship? If so, then you're ready to begin your own Jungian love journey. And trust me, once you experience the depth, authenticity, and transformative power of conscious relationships, you'll never want to go back to the old patterns of projection and unconscious relating. The revolution starts with you. The conscious relationships you create will ripple out into the world, inspiring others to move beyond projection and into genuine love. This is how we heal not just our own hearts, but the collective heart of humanity itself. Your love life is about to get a lot more interesting. Welcome to the world of Jungian relationships, where real love finally becomes possible.